in there?
You don't have to turn them on. Yeah, we don't have to.
Lights don't work. Press it. She said, hold it in. Heart and wand.
Now we're
p.m. Pledge allegiance and sound invitation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Statement regarding the meeting notice. The agenda for the meeting was sent to Shadow Leader and results broadcast. Copies of the agenda were also posted at the Village Hall, Bonneville State Bank, Bonneville Library. I have approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda and deviate as necessary.
I'll second it.
Motion by Kelly, second by Haunstein, to approve the agenda and deviate as necessary. Is there any discussion? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the February 8th, 2023 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, February 8th.
I'll second it.
Motion by Haunstein, second by Court, to approve the February 8th, 2023 minutes. Is there any discussion? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Acknowledgement of citizenship and open forum. Communications, petitions, correspondence. Committee reports, public safety, please.
We did not meet.
Police Department report, Chief Eric Kraus.
The report is on file. And then one additional thing that's not on here is in April, we'll be doing a drug take-back day. We registered for that today through the federal government, so we'll have 2 officers at the PD for 4 hours collecting unwanted or unused medications. Everyone can drop them off at Village Hall as well, anytime.
Fire Department report. On file. EMS report is on file. Administrative Committee, Brenda Stassi. Clerk Treasurer's report, Michelle Marashik.
The report's on file. I just want to let everybody know that the last meeting, I mentioned that there was an issue with the audit on the proceeds of debt from 2020 when we took out the last general obligation loan. I did have the auditors look at it, and it's pretty much a simple thing that happened. They had moved the money to report the debt and the loan. I had a conference with John and Haley this week. The only thing that didn't happen is what they didn't do and what we didn't do is we didn't move the money to the cash, showing it moved to the cash for the 300 fund. So when we look at the 300 fund, it looks like we're in the hole a lot, which we're really not. It's just, it did get moved from the 100 cash to the 300 cash. So we'll be making that journal entry and it will correct after the audit this year. So I'll be getting those journal entries soon. They're still working on the audit. Jesse and I have been working on stuff with the PSC report, and Kelly is working on it that this week to get our numbers to look a little closer to what we actually used. So we did figure out the debt issue that we had different auditors last year, so I don't think they caught it. And this year when I questioned it, then Haley is our normal auditor, and so she dug into it a little deeper and figured out what was missing in the puzzle. So that is corrected now.
Municipal Operations Committee, Kim Haunstein.
We did not meet.
Municipal Operations Department, Jesse Rank.
Reports on file. I just, to add to that, we've also, been working on a recycling grant, filling out paperwork for that. Trying to get that submitted to DNR. We're looking at ways to pave Whitney Woods, Stubby Road that, Mr. Greenwald put in. Because there is potentially a house being built there, there might be some things coming up. Shawano Municipal Utility has stopped providing after hours use of their jetter truck. Now we use it maybe 3 times a year, but now that's creating a hassle for us. I'm looking for other trucks in the area to use. So if we have a sewer backup on the weekend, we used to just call Shawnee Municipal Utility. They come here with your dredge truck, figure the obstruction or whatever, and be on our way. But now we're gonna have to either call Pulaski or get a contractor to rebate them. So the response time is gonna be lessened, and they're not gonna, it's just not bondable. They're not doing that for it's everybody. So we're having a hard time finding people to work after hours and on weekend and on calls and everything else. That's a pretty big blow to us. One thing I found out is that the county is actually gonna pay all of BE, except when it comes to the build and bond loan. They're gonna skip right over it and go down the river road. So, it had to do with that bipartisan infrastructure law, since they got funding for rural communities. It's gonna happen probably in 2026. But hopefully between now and then, we'll find stuff, there'll be other round of grants given out, so that way because they're just gonna mill and overlay. So that way they can do the entire length of Bonneville. So they would stop at the outskirts of Bonneville and then pick out once they got back over there.
So it's a rural community initiative and they're
Yeah.
skipping the community?
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Cool.
So that bipartisan infrastructure law, I don't know if you ever remember me talking about it, where we did a road, we cost probably 2, 3, 4 times the normal amount. So, and they didn't want to do any infrastructure under that. So that's where this is coming into play. Now, we could have probably applied for it, but then we would have been on the hook for 100% minus what we got from the bipartisan infrastructure law. If the county does this and gets grant money for it, let's say next year, or the year after, we would be responsible for the non-travel lane, sort of like with 117. So everything, they would do the travel lanes through the village. If we want to do the non-travel lanes, they would do that at the same time. The county probably the least expensive, but nothing's cheap. The least expensive of paving crews. That's why I'm gonna ask them to do that portion up at Whitney Woods, because that should probably only be about $14,000, whereas a contractor is about $20,000. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not something that's gonna happen obviously overnight. You know, we're 3 years away from it. Hopefully, there's money that gets released between now and then to help us out.
Maybe we'll get some of that Build Back Better money. If Ukraine gets done with it.
Board reports. No zoning board reviews. Library board is on file. Plan commission has some items coming to board. And fire commission is on file. Miscellaneous reports. Okay, new business, E1. Discussion of possible action to approve the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan.
This is something that came from the Plan Commission meeting. Let me get the right page. Comprehensive Outdoor Rec Plan, or CORP as they call it. What that does, if you have that plan, that opens you up for applying for grants or receiving funding for federal grants and other grants for park and recreation equipment. Now, you can apply for them funds without an outdoor rec plan, but your likelihood of receiving them funds are slim to none. What this is this would have Cedar Corp come in, and the things listed there, they would, background of the population, inventory of existing, facilities, so forth and so on. And then come out, we would have input on what we're looking to do in the next 5 years, because it's only good for 5 years. They put a plan together, and then with that plan, we can submit for funding through various grant opportunities. Without it, we can submit it, but you're not gonna get anything because we don't have this plan. It talks about it in our comprehensive plan, but we never executed it when we did the comprehensive plan. So it refers to it, but the last one was from like 1968. So I think what happened is that there was a plan to do this back in 2019, 2020, but then changeover of my position and COVID and everything else happened, and it never got done. So I got 2 estimates, one from Cedar Corp and MSA. MSA was higher than Cedar Corp, and Ken Jaworski from Cedar Corp is actually the one who did our comprehensive plan with Ellers.
He was with
Martins and Isley. He has then since gone to Cedar Corp. So he knows the village, he's worked with us before. So yeah, but it's the price tag on it is $8,600. MSA was 85 to 9,600. And I just think with the familiarity with this, the plan commission thought it would be best to go to Cedar Point. The question becomes the funding for where to get the funding from.
Planning commission made a motion Monday night to go to Cedar Court and to get the money from the cell tower. That's what they're recommending to use the money from there.
Because it being able to regenerate every month, it'll replace that over a certain period of time, so.
We rent out the cell phone tower behind my building. We get a monthly fee for that. And that's what that money, I don't think it was ever officially.
It's not ear noted for anything, the cell tower fund. It was to be agreed upon by whatever the village decided to use it for. Kind of, but it has to be something that they feel is benefit to the village. So we get $600 a month for a lease payment on that cell tower. So we get that monthly. Right now in that fund, there is 25.9 is what is in there as of the end of February.
Is there any other funds coming out of that?
No, we've not taken anything out of there at this point. The other fund they talked about at plan commission was ARPA money, but as we know, we need that really for the infrastructure on 117. So,
Yeah, the recommendation was to take the money out of the cell phone tower fund to get the court plan started and completed so we can apply for grants and funding to put playground equipment in. Just not playground equipment, this will also cover anything we want to do at any park, whether it's bathrooms at those parks or
any development.
any development at any park.
So the 8,600 is to create the plan.
Is to create a plan, because without that plan, you're not gonna get any funding.
So are they gonna help?
They help write grants and everything else.
Okay.
And then just a note, after the 5 years, we depending upon what we all get done and what changes, the board, you guys yourself can, say, okay, we're gonna renew this plan. We don't need to spend the 86,000 or 8,600 again. We'll renew it as a resolution, so you can adopt it again without going through this all again.
The initial startup,
Right.
getting it drafted, organized, and put together is the cost. After that, we amended and adopted by resolution to keep it going. So we're feeling the cost to have this company do it again as long as we keep it up.
And that's within the 5 years.
Yeah,
Like 5
so
years.
5 years it
Right.
expires basically, but we would need to relook at it every 5 years and make sure our initiatives are still active for what we want to do and update those and readopt those resolutions.
And the biggest thing after 5 years, let's say we wanna add, whatever. Pick a thing.
Water splash pad.
Splash pad. The biggest thing Cedar Corp will help us out with is getting actual cost estimates. Rather than me sitting here saying, you know what, I think I talked to Shawano, they put one in, cost X amount. They'll actually do the research and get the estimates for us. So that way we have a realistic idea of what we're spending. And then that also portrays when you apply for a grant, to ask you how much the project, is gonna cost. So that would be their biggest thing in your project.
And that all comes with that $8,600.
I'll make a motion to approve the outdoor park rec plan using the cell tower money. Second.
Motion by Court, second by Page. To approve the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan with Cedar Court. And we only have a cell tower. Is there any discussion? In favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Discussion of possible action to form a 501c3 for village park donations.
This was another recommendation from Ken Jaworski, came from the Plan Commission. This would create a way for people to donate directly to the Cedar Park funds, or not Cedar Park, Bondwell Friends, to name it Friends of the Bondwell Parks. So that way it eliminates a couple things, because if we say donate to the Village of Bondwell, People are like, well, I ain't gonna donate to, you know, I don't like Jesse Rankin for whatever reason. I ain't donating nothing to the village. So if we keep it generic and say donate to the Friends of the Bondwell Parks, that would, and this would, we would also put it on our webpage so somebody could donate, because most municipalities, most people have something where if somebody wants to donate, they can. And then that money would obviously still have to be used for parks. We could use it for Village Park, Cedar Park, Mountain Bay Trail Park, anything associated with the park.
Dog park.
Dog park. Cedar Park.
Yep.
So we can put it towards anything if we just keep it generic like that. On the recommendation of Ken, he said just be friends of the Bondwell Park. I talked to our attorney, he said it wouldn't be a problem, he would file a paperwork for us. He's not gonna do it for free, I'm sure it'll be a couple $100 for him to do it, but, we'd create a way for people to donate directly to the fund.
I'll make the motion to create the 501c3 for the park fund.
I'll second it.
Motion by Kelly, second by Havenstein. To approve the 501c3 for village park donations. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? K3, we will dismiss by consensus. K4, discussion of possible action to discontinue the CDBG Housing Revolving Loan Fund Program.
All right, so this, I don't know how many of you know, but we do have a program, through the village, or through the federal government, but it's ran through the village. It's a community development block grant, and how it works is that if you're under a certain threshold as far as income, to qualify, you can get a grant through this program to pay for, let's say, windows, doors, a roof, different things that your house may need. Depending on the value of your house, depending on what you need done to your house, you can get a certain dollar amount. This grant, they pay for whatever needs to be done, and then you get the grant money, pay for those things, and it is repayable upon the sale of your house. So if you get $20,000 to put windows and doors in your house, when you sell your house, you pay back the $20,000 to this fund. And then whatever after that is yours to do with whatever. So we do have some people still on this. The problem has been, we have gotten money back from people who have sold their house over the last few years. We have not issued, I think we've issued one 2 summers ago. Nobody seems to be qualifying for it. And so we have to determine if we continue this. Right now, we have $176,000 in our fund. And the state is telling us that if we do not have somebody to qualify for this, and this year, we need to discontinue because we're not spending it, using it like we should. So we need to
Are they
turn-
that stringent with the,
It's like 40,000 for 2 people income. Well, houses in this market are not selling, they're selling for 150 to 160,000. Well, 2 people making $40,000 aren't gonna afford a house for 160,000 or 150.
No.
I mean, we have nothing under 100,000 that's selling around here. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, if 2 people are only making $40,000 a year, they're not buying a house in this market. The people who probably could qualify, we've tried to reach out to people who we thought might qualify. I know like last year, I think you took some applications to a few people whose houses were, thought maybe these could qualify. They didn't qualify, or the other problem is some of the houses that are pretty tough shape, you have to have enough equity in that house to say, here's 20 or 30,000, and then when you go to sell it, you still have to have enough to get that money back out of it.
Yeah.
So I know there's one we could probably all think of that might qualify, but you're not gonna get that kind of money back out of it. It's gotta be worth something.
So
What
it's a catch
happens-
22.
Correct.
So what happens with the money that we currently have?
It has to go back to the federal government. It's not our money.
Okay.
It's the federal government's money. So what we would have to do is agree to, and we don't have to do this tonight, but we need to decide if this is the path we want to go down. If we decide to get rid of it, that does not mean that there is not money out there if, let's say, Tim, you wanna try to get some money to fix your house, and you think you might qualify for something, and we don't have this program anymore in the village. There is county grants that are a block grant type thing. There is community type things that are maybe not just the village of Ottawa Wells, but there's stuff for the county, or regional type stuff. So there is still stuff out there, it just won't be Ottawa Well. Problem is, we just haven't been, I've been advertising it, people come in and get it when we put it out on Facebook, and then they look at the numbers and go, yeah, we make money. You know, some of the older people in town who maybe own their house and are on a fixed income might qualify, but they're not coming in for it either. So I don't know how else. The other thing that I know I talked to Carrie about it a little bit about a month ago, we would have to do some heavy marketing to try to see if we could find anybody to do it. I don't have time to sit and try to beg people to come take this money. I don't know what we do with it. So I guess it's a matter of what you guys wanna do. If we choose to discontinue it, we basically need to make that motion that we wanna discontinue it. And then we need to start the paperwork with basically with the government and with the state. We do have a few things we have to clean up. So we have a mortgage that's on this, that I have to figure out how we take care of that.
That was my next question, like, how do you,
Um,
if anybody's still
So if
on it?
anybody would pay in their money, and that's what I need to find out, because we have a couple of little sticky things on this. I think if they just pay in their money, we just take it in and I send it in to the state, and it's not.
You have a
yeah.
certain account that you
Right,
send.
when, like, okay, so I know there's a few houses that still have it. So when and if they would sell, the money's gonna come back through like a title company to the village. I think I just send it into the Department of Administration, they take care of it. We have one that's a little sticky, and she wasn't sure how we would handle that, and we have to figure that out. Which is like a big deal, but it's a monthly thing, so we have to figure that part of it out. And I'm hoping that they just say they can figure that out through the state and they can figure it out.
Right, like they,
They would take care of it and I wouldn't have to.
right,
But it would clean up, I mean, it would just be a done deal with us. I mean, I hate to see it go, but, I mean, we've been trying to get people on it, and it's just such a tight threshold that, I mean, like, I'm not saying that people that don't qualify, but in this market right now, people aren't gonna qualify.
right.
I mean, unless you bought your house years ago and you're, at that threshold, and your payments are low on your house, I just don't know who's qualified for it now.
Would it make more sense to get final answers on the sticky things that you've got
I was
going
gonna
on?
say first,
Well, that we can't really worry about. They'll figure that out however it works.
Okay,
I mean, that's not gonna really, no matter what we do, they'll figure that out. So, I guess it's just a matter of what you guys think. I mean, we can try to market it some more if you think there's people out there that could benefit from it. I mean, I really wish there was, because it is a good program. But I just don't know who else, unless you guys can think of other people we could try to get to try to look at it. I mean, I just don't think there's a lot of people out there with 2 jobs making 40,000 or less. And have a house payment, I mean, most of the houses around here aren't right now aren't selling for that. I mean, maybe, 6-8 years ago they were, that they probably would have been okay.
right,
Or maybe there's other people I'm not thinking of that maybe would, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm not thinking of the right people.
and a lot of times, if you look at elderly people, they have too much pride, they're not gonna,
Right.
well, I mean, my grandparents won't come in for a grant.
not only that, they're probably thinking to the future when they're deciding to liquidate their estate. They don't want to pass anything on to their kids. They may not understand
Right.
the situation. So,
Well, and the thing is, yeah, it comes off the top, so, you know, and it's kind of a process too, and it's not like you go to them and say, okay, yeah, I wanna do this, and okay, so you get this, and they say, yes, you qualify. It's like a whole, almost like almost a year process, I would say, by the time you get the quotes, they get the paperwork, I mean, maybe it's not quite a year, but it's a process, because you gotta get the quotes to get the work done, do the paperwork, then you get the stuff done, then, you know, you get submissions in. So it's not like it's, you know, here's the money, go do it, right?
Right.
You gotta get the appraisals on your house to make sure that your house is worth it. They come look at stuff, you know, I mean, it's definitely a process, so it's not like you get it overnight. And here's the money, have at her, and, you know,
Right.
it's not just a quick thing. You know, I wish, I mean, I'm not saying I wish we had more houses, which everybody wishes they had more houses, but, I wish we had more lower income houses, I guess, or more houses that were maybe at a lower market price that would qualify, but everything seems to be selling at a higher market right now. So I guess, like I said, I don't know what you guys want to do with the program, but the state is basically, as you can see on the bottom, is saying that if you're not gonna use this, we need to know what you're doing. So I reached out to her and told her that at this point, I just don't see that we have a lot of people that would qualify. And then I was gonna bring it to you guys tonight to see what way you think we should go with this.
I'll make a motion to discontinue the CDBG Housing Revolving Loan Fund Program.
I'll second.
Motion by Hoppenstein, second by Kelly. Discontinue the CDBG Housing Revolving Loan Fund Program. Is there any discussion? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Discussion and possible action to approve the operator bartender license application.
This is for Dollar General. She came in for a license, Eric's background check. And Eric, you want to talk about her?
She has several violations that were on her driving record, some were alcohol related, so she would not qualify at this time for a regular one. However, she would qualify for that. Letter that we do with them. And I did attach a letter to that.
It would be in your section, if somebody who can have it get back, it would send it to her.
I'll make the motion to approve with the conditional letter of agreement.
I'll second it.
Motion by Kelly, second by Zuliger.
No.
Einstein. Approve the operator bartender license application with conditional letter. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and possible action to approve the liquor license for Bongo Mini Mart LLC.
All right, I don't know if everybody knows, but Lee's is in the process of being sold. And this is the liquor license for the new owners. It will be called Bongo Mini Mart. They are looking to take over this month, and they have passed the background. And so they are applying for the liquor license from now till the end of June until the new one's ready to.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license for the Bondwell Mini Mart LLC.
Motion by Hoppenstein, second by Stashik. To approve the liquor license for the Bongo Mini Mart LLC. Is there any discussion? Favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Closed session. Move to closed session to discuss a possible business development pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Chapter 19, General Duties of Public Officials, Subchapter E 1915, exemptions, deliberating, and negotiation, purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, and conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. At the end of closed session, the commission will reconvene in the open session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for approximately 5 minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hoppenstein, second by Court. To move into closed session for approximately 5 minutes. Inviting Michelle Marashik. Jessica Kim, Munstein, sure. Harry Kraus. Roll call.
Paige,
Present.
Kelly.
Hey.
James,
Yep.
Zuliger.
Yep.
Ottenstein.
Yep.
Stashik. Yep. Ford.
Here.
We're in closed session at 6:31 PM.